Hello podcast listeners. Before we start the show, we have a very important message to discuss. The events over the past month have once again highlighted the sufferings and injustices that black people and people of colour have had to deal with on a daily basis. We stand with Black Lives Matter. Just because the hashtags aren't trending anymore doesn't mean that this is over. Black lives still and have always mattered, and there is still a lot of work to do. Even if you do not deem yourself as a racist, white privilege still exists, and it is our job as white people to ensure that we educate ourselves further. We have been educated over this period and will continue to do so moving forward. We are happy to have and encourage such an inclusive community, and we wish for this to grow and continue to be a safe place for all to enjoy. If you wish to help support Black Lives, we have put together a list of charities, streamers, content creators, and further reading, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for your time.
Test. Ickles.
It's a new intro, so please don't be dickheads.
When are we ever dickheads, Geordie?
So you turned at me and went, "What's wrong with me?"
Certain companies getting flack from people whose games are incredibly political posted something in support of Black Lives Matter, and obviously, I don't want politics in my games. Again, Cyberpunk.
How more fucking political could you get?
No, I am being slandered. I am being slandered on the podcast.
Hello podcast listeners, welcome and thanks for joining us. You're listening to the Video Game Chat Podcast, a fortnightly podcast talking about games, tech and other nerdy goodness. I'm Geordie, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Rob.
Hello.
Gary.
Hello.
And Brendan.
Christ, I choked on my fucking soda.
We hope you enjoy this podcast, and if you want to join in and ask questions or suggest other topics, we have a new Discord where you can chat about games and news with our awesome community. You can also follow us and message us on Twitter at VGC_podcast. The links are down below. So guys, how have we been doing since the last episode?
All right, my good buddy. I've been trying to get back into a normal sleeping pattern after 3 months of no work. I've actually had work come in and I'm being chased up for more work. So things are going back to normal. But yeah, the sleeping has suffered recently.
The heat doesn't help either. I always find during the summer my sleep sort of disappears on me.
How about everyone else?
Been busy at work, but otherwise, yeah, pretty good.
And Brendan?
I need more sleep.
I need more sleep. Don't we all?
More sleep would be good, actually. More games, more sleep.
Exactly. Not enough hours in the day.
Geordie, you've got an announcement, haven't you?
Yes, boys. After many months of waiting for various gaming companies or game sellers to try and sell me a VR headset and lying to me about days in which they will have them in stock, I finally got a VR headset, boys.
Where'd you get it from?
I got it from John Lewis, of all places.
See, Christmas has finally arrived.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you think the new John Lewis Christmas advert's just going to be Geordie in a VR headset?
That would genuinely be so wholesome.
It's going to be me. It's going to be me sitting up for 3 months every night, clicking refresh on the Oculus Store, and then seeing on one of my stock inform notifications that John Lewis just got something in stock, and then me going, buy, sell.
The big hook is like it shows you sort of waiting by the window all excitedly. Then the delivery driver arrives, and you hastily bring the box in, and you're putting it on your head, and the family
over on the doorstep and just land on it.
The family's all gathered around, watching and smiling as Jordan puts on the headset, and then the preview just bounces up on the computer screen of Porn Star Island.
Are you winning, son?
Yes, Dad. VR has been good. I'm liking what we've been doing. Beat Saber is immensely fun. Love Beat Saber. That's definitely one of my favourites, and doesn't make me sick. But yeah, played a bit of Pavlov the other day, didn't we, lads? And had a good couple of games.
Yeah, you toughed that out well.
Yeah,
it's good fun.
The thing that always surprises me playing VR with both, actually all three of you, is that Geordie specifically is fucking tall. And I'm, I would say maybe average, maybe just under average height. And Geordie is like 6 foot fucking 20. So it's weird.
6 foot 12 fucking killing for fun.
I'm 6'4", but okay.
It feels like that.
I just love the fact that I think I did this before in a match with you guys before, but obviously with VR you can adjust your settings to have them accurately reflect your height so that things function a bit better, and some people will artificially raise their height to make them look taller, and on Pavlov you can play this great game where when you spot a tall person you drop something on the ground and tell them to pick it up. They're not able to do so.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I had the reverse sort of thing where I'd left my headset on and it got quite dark in my room and I didn't realise, and then my sensors basically couldn't see the floor anymore, so I turned into like a 4 foot just a 4 foot person, and
just
I was just
crunched condensed fetus man.
Yeah, and I couldn't sprint because I was too small in the game, and I was walking around like crawling pretty much, going, right, there's something wrong with the headset, it's not picking up how tall I am.
That's right.
Is that why you were crouching around in the shop?
Yeah. Because he had turned at me and went, "What's wrong with me, Brendan?"
I went, "What's wrong with me, Brendan? I turned into Gary."
All I saw was like legs are kind of like in a crouching position, like in normal video game style. And then your fucking body is just like 120 degrees bent over forwards.
Just like a mangled corpse. Oh, yeah. But no, I'm sure we will we'll play a lot more VR between now and the next episode, and I can give a full rundown on how I feel is pretty how I feel it is, and if it was worth it. And I assume it will be good. So stay tuned for a full VR episode coming up within the next couple of weeks. What other games have we been playing then this week, boys?
You and I, Jordy, we've been playing Minecraft Dungeons.
We have.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, it was on the Xbox Game Pass as it's been released recently. And Xbox Game Pass was, if you've not used Xbox Game Pass before, you basically start off your first month for £1. So for £1 for a month, I got to play Minecraft Dungeons, which was worth it. And it's a really good little dungeon crawler game, and have shit ton of fun with it. It's got a lot of replayability, and I think quite a lot of people would enjoy it. We've had quite a bit of fun with it, Gary, haven't we?
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I am I very much enjoy dungeon crawler type games. And although this one is kind of on the kind of easier side, I guess, because it's not, there's not as many like synergies or anything that you have to worry about. It's kind of, there are a little bit, but it's not super detailed. It's still enjoyable. It's very fun. It's Minecraft. Like this, the thing that we were saying, Jody, is that it's annoying that Minecraft Dungeons has items in it that Minecraft doesn't.
Yeah.
It would be nice to just have, they've got seats, they've got tables in Minecraft Dungeons. Where are they in Minecraft?
Yeah, it was sort of a case of we were going through the first few levels when we were, was I streaming it or was you streaming it? I think me. I
think it was you, yeah.
Yeah, we were streaming like the very first couple of levels that we were playing, and we were going, oh, look at how the spiders do this, and like the certain different mobs that there were and stuff like that attacking you in certain ways. And I was like, why can't this be in Minecraft? Like, why can't they just code this into Minecraft? Because it would be so much better. Like the spiders, instead of just running and attacking you like they normally do, the spiders will stop, look at you, and then they throw a cobweb at you, which sort of sticks you to the ground like a stun. And if they did that in Minecraft, it would be fucking like insane.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5 to 10 years, Minecraft may have a sequel. And if they start bringing in the more RPG elements of like Minecraft Dungeons into a kind of more
the thing is
fleshed out version.
With Dungeons, there didn't really have there wasn't really many RPG aspects, was there? Because it wasn't like you had like specific skill trees to go down or anything. It was basically just based on your armor stats. So you pick up a new piece of armor and it'd have better stats than your old piece of armor, or you pick up a new weapon and it had different stats to your weapon that you were using and stuff like that. So there's no actual real like level up progression other than like the level of your gear, because your gear made up your level on how powerful you were.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the only thing that makes it different to say like a Diablo or something like that. So it is a little bit more of a kid-friendly dungeon crawler in the sense that there is no like skill tree, but you can sort of look at the numbers of your kit, your weapons and the potions and the extra little trinkets that you get and stuff with it. And you can go, right, yeah, so this trinket is a rocket arrow, which does this much damage, where this other rocket arrow that I've got does this much damage. And it's just, you combine it with different styles of bow or whatever it is they have, and it makes it better. Like it's not a very basic, I say kid friendly in terms that it's Minecraft, and Minecraft is a game that's aimed for kids and sort of more of a creative thing. But this is definitely sort of something that I'd love Minecraft, the actual Minecraft game, to be, in the terms of like all the extra blocks and the extra abilities and stuff. And it just shows that like Mojang can do it, but obviously it's just not on the same engine as what Minecraft is. It's a different engine.
Yeah, and they could probably transfer Minecraft, like if they did like Minecraft 2 and brought in all those features, because the other thing that I liked about the new engine was the lighting. The lighting is beautiful in it.
Yeah.
It feels like a much more realized version of Minecraft. Like everything that they've added feels like it's part of the Minecraft universe. And I would like to see that in Minecraft. But just like to have, like, I appreciate that they're doing free updates for years and years and years now, but
yeah, the stuff like all the new villains, like you've got the illagers and stuff in Minecraft now, but all like the boss illagers they had, like the floaty demon one that shot you with like projectiles. They had that in Minecraft. That'd be a cool, awesome boss to add into. One thing I didn't see in Dungeons, I don't know if it is in Dungeons eventually, but you don't like fight the Ender Dragon, or you don't fight the Wither, or any of the standard bosses you would get in Minecraft. But there are these new bosses that have been made specifically for Dungeons, which I think would be quite a cool addition to the base game.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, that was us. We had a little bit of fun on Dungeons. What about you boys? Anything new that we've been playing?
I've been jumping back into Titanfall 2. Like, I picked it up on a sale about 6 months ago, played through some of the single player, but avoided the multiplayer, which I thought would actually be quite dead at this point, because it didn't have a particularly smooth launch, like in terms of sales, because it was wedged directly between, I think it was Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty, was it Infinite Warfare?
It was Infinite Warfare, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously having another sort of futuristic shooter going up against Infinite Warfare and also up against Battlefield 1 in like it was in the same fortnight, I think. It just didn't do very well. Like, it was one that I had my eye on at the time, but I didn't have the money for it. I was like, if there's one game I'm getting out of any of these, it's going to be Battlefield 1 anyway. But yeah, I've picked it up again, and I've been smashing it this week and really enjoying it. Like, it's still quite populated. And me and you tried to play the other night, didn't we? And we got like one game in before just everybody seemed to go to sleep and no servers were available. But yeah, I've been enjoying it, apart from the odd bit of bullshit where, you are up against teams of people who are like Prestige 100, and your team's full of people that have only just started playing, and you obviously get completely shat on because the player base isn't amazingly huge, but it's still active. But
it's big enough to be active, but not big enough to still like have
be
people
super
that are
diverse. Yeah. So it's a bit of a mixed bag depending on what server you end up loading into, whether you're going to actually have fun or whether you are just going to be fodder. But yeah, really enjoying it. And I am hoping that with the success of Apex as well, that there's Titanfall 3 on the horizon, like you'd hope.
I'd like Titanfall 3.
But yeah, other than that, we've played a bit of Depth the other night. I picked that up for you guys.
Oh, yes.
You did. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, no worries. Like, just because I'd seen that dumb shark game come out the other week, Maneater, which I had no interest in, but a game where you play as sharks and fuck over your friends, I already knew that existed, and I was like, yeah, this has already been done before. Better. And multiplayer. So I just bought you guys some keys and had to go with that. So what did you guys think of that anyway?
And more importantly, Rob, it's competitive, so obviously you're going to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, it was very
That's
fun.
the only way I can enjoy anything anymore, Gary.
A, it's competitive, and B, there's competitive looting.
No,
Yeah, the amount of
I
times
really
you
enjoyed
picked up
Depth.
gold. Yeah, it was a decent wee game. Like, I love the sense of like suspense that you get in it whenever the shark's getting close.
There's some really fun game modes as well, because it's a asymmetric multiplayer game, I guess, where you don't have necessarily the same amount of sharks as you do humans. And so you'll have like 4 humans to 2 sharks. And obviously the sharks are really powerful, but the humans are more powerful altogether. So you kind of got to get the humans on their own. And some of the game modes are quite fun. Like the hide and seek game mode? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I think the sharks have only won that once when we've played it, haven't they? It's very difficult to find people.
And the boomsticks are pretty overpowered.
Was that the one that I dropped in at the beginning on? Because I think I got Geordie straight away.
And you fly down from the sky as the hide and seek one, as the shark.
Yeah. In true shark nature, you fall from the sky. Maybe it's like actual canon from Sharknado. Maybe you're one of the ones that flew out.
You've been picked up by an actual Sharknado, and you've had the fortune of being thrown through the air into a perfectly square set of rock that has like a sunken ship in the middle of it.
It definitely is a perfectly square.
Oh, what a treat, just in time for the divers.
A conveniently placed square of rocks. It's very similar to some other games that we played, like Deceit and Friday the 13th. Like all those asymmetric games are very fun because you always get like a lot of deception going on if you're hiding amongst other players. So like TTT, for example, that's another classic example of asymmetric fucking dicking your mates over.
Me and Gary have also been playing some Civilization 6. It came free to play on the Epic Store the other day. And I picked it up on Steam before it became free. And the Platinum version was a little bit cheaper on Steam as well, so I decided to get it there anyway. But we've been playing a little Civilization 6 party with a few of my friends from Facebook and stuff, a few of my music friends. And Gary's having his first little Civilization playthrough. And how are you finding that, Gary?
Meltdown.
Yeah, you've not had a great start, have you? Really, for the
I've gone from like disaster to disaster in that game. It's not been an easy one, so I'm trying my best. But I would like to say that it was all due to my own incompetence, but most of it's completely out of my hands, unfortunately.
So, some more news. There has been some uproar within the Twitch community, affecting quite a few people that I know personally, friends of mine who are sort of involved with music and are artists or musicians. Twitch has basically been telling users that they are risking indefinite bans if their streams get copy striked after Warner and Universal have started copy strike claiming VODs, which are basically videos on demand and highlights from people's live streams. So Twitch came out on Twitter, and this is a quote from their Twitter page saying, "This week we've had a sudden influx of DMCA takedown requests for clips, background music from 2017 to 2019. If you are unsure about your rights to audio in past streams, we advise removing those clips. We know many of you have large archives and we're working to make it easier. This is the first time we have received mass DMCA claims against clips. We understand this has been a stressful time for affected creators and are working on solutions, including examining how we can give you more control over your clips. So basically, if you're a music streamer or a musician, say you're a guitarist or a singer or a bass player or a drummer for a band, and your music is licensed or is owned by a record label or a company, unless you own the technical rights to your own music, you can't even stream you playing your own music on stream, even if you are an artist, because it is technically owned by one of these bigger corporations who can copy strike you, basically.
Bloody farcical. If you have had any sort of exposure to how bigger companies operate at like board level and other levels within their management, what would have happened here is within Warner or any other sort of media group that's doing these mass copy strikes, they will literally have a steering group handling this. Like, this was discussed in meetings and it was greenlit, and they decided to push this as an approach. So this wasn't something done on a whim. This isn't someone doing, their own thing and they're going to apologize for it. This is a significantly wealthy media company deciding that they're going to hammer Twitch with hundreds, if not thousands, of copy strikes. And it's just
probably
nuts.
Communicated to each other as well before they did it, so that they could work in tandem to make sure that this actually gets put through.
Oh yeah, like it would have been done through the lawyers in the first place. Any sort of correspondence that's happening with Twitch between the record company will be going through their lawyers. They'll know exactly what they're up to here. It'll all be legally, it'll all be signed. Ethically, dear Christ.
For background music in a game, for the music isn't even part of the game, for example, no one cares.
Yeah.
You're there for the stream. Like, you're not taking money away from that song because no one would have listened to that song. In fact, you're actively promoting that song on your stream.
Yeah. I think
weird one.
The song's buried there under like you talking to everybody in chat, reacting to the game audio, gunshots, whatever's going on within the game. The music's just still part of that, buried in. It's not an easy, clean way to listen to or pirate music. You can't just record that music unless somebody had that playing and just that.
Yeah.
But
it muddies itself in the whole trailer thing.
Yeah, it's still just there, like in the background, and people go, okay, that song, I quite like it. What is it? I can't fully work it out. And, it's more likely to bring them round to then listening. Like if somebody was streaming Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 and that comes out.
God, yeah, like the soundtrack is so key to games like that. It adds to the entire experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
like
are going to have
GTA
people
5.
going, oh, what was that song? And you go, oh, it's Goldfinger. It's a classic.
Yeah, the thing that I have a problem with basically is a few of my friends who are out of jobs now because of COVID, because they're all live musicians basically, and their money that they make is from them performing. And obviously, when there is no performances and no gigs going on, they can't make any money. Turning to Twitch and live streaming was something that they found quite difficult to get used to, and something that would be quite difficult for them to sort of, like, not only costly, because obviously they've got to buy all the equipment to start streaming, but for stuff like drummers have to buy electronic kits, guitarists and singers will have to buy sort of audio equipment to be able to stream live from sort of home environments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the interaction you have with an audience that is live online is different to the interaction you'd have as a live audience in a venue. And with Twitch and sort of streaming platforms, there is the option there for you to go, right, oh, so I've got these many people listening to me. They want me to play this song, so they can request you to play this song, and then they'll play it for you, or they'll try their best to play it for you as well as they can. And that's how I know most music streams to go on Twitch as for musicians sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily music that's in games and stuff like that, but this is what people are sort of getting done for at these sort of music streams, where they're being requested to play something and then they're playing it. along to a backing track or to a YouTube video of the official music video or whatever, and they can't even keep them the VODs up and active in fear of being banned indefinitely from their only way of making money. And
That's exactly it.
Yeah, with it being their own music as well, like where they're actually in a band, and there's fucking tons of people now that are famous musicians who are now streaming on Twitch. Like it's madness how like many people have just gone from being like, oh, I play massive venues to go now I just play in my bedroom to Twitch, or to thousands of people on Twitch now. Like this is the times we're living in with the pandemic and that now. But all it is Twitch just needs to either find a way to liaise with the labels to make it so that they pay a PRS or the money that goes to a subscription or something for music streamers goes a little bit of their money gets put back in towards like a PRS license or something like that. If you're a streamer and you're affiliated and you start making money from your streams, then right, when you make past a certain amount of money streaming music or whatever on Twitch, a percentage of that is taken as a cut to PRS or whatever, just for the music that you've been using for your streams. That's all they need to do. All they need to decide and liaise with the labels about. But the labels are just sort of while they're not making any money, they're just going, oh no, all right, bam, we're just going to take all of the profits from that and do all of this. It doesn't even make sense when they're like artists that are playing their own music that are from the labels that own their music that have copy striking them, and it's just like it's a whole big thing.
What gets me is how archaic record labels are. Like they are so in the past. They have no idea how technology works. Like they could have easily have done something like Spotify and then milked it for fucking millions, tens of millions.
I think the sort of irony here is obviously this is going to be driven by a certain level just through lawyers being dickheads, but also the way forward here is inevitably going to come through the same route. I think musicians themselves in the circumstances that Jordy has just described are going to be fucked for a long time as a result of this. Yeah. Like this is effectively the equivalent of a guy comes into the pub. He's not hired by the pub. He's just there because he's a local musician. He goes into a corner, starts playing some songs, does a couple of covers, and next thing you know, he's barred from the pub because Warner has issued a copy strike against the fact he did a cover of a song. That's what musicians are going to be subjected to for games. The solution there, it'll come from the lawyers. Next time Rockstar's doing GTA 6 and they're licensing music, there will be a clause written into the contract for the licensing that says this will be allowed to be streamed on platforms, and they will list a series of platforms that they have agreements with, and that will allow videos containing that music to be put up on those sites, and it'll be done through the developers because the developers need those streams for marketing. And like as was already said, it helps the songs, like it gets them out there and makes them popular, so they benefit from it anyway. They just make more money. Rockstar can probably just say, that's fine, here's a bit of an extra cut, job done. For musicians themselves, there's no real you don't have the backing of Rockstar's legal team. You don't have the backing of Activision or EA. There's going to be independent artists there who, even like Jordan's mate, have signed up to a record label, and they can't do anything because it's up to the record label to decide what happens. So they may not be able to actually claim ownership of their own music because they don't have the resources or the money to do so. It's just nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Cool. So moving on to our next subject on the news. The UK government issues a call for evidence into loot boxes. So FIFA, CSGO, Overwatch, all those sort of loot box gaming, gambling sort of things are all going to be started to be hit from the UK government now. So, Gary, unfortunately, our gambling addictions are going to be stunted once more.
Oh, no. Oh, just as I started getting into it as well.
Yeah, loot box simulator will have to do for the time being.
I'll just have to make my own one, break the law.
Yeah. Just get like a Wheel of Fortune thing set up in your living room and just like choose what you're going to have for dinner. Spin it and then you got a legendary spag bowl. Oh.
Oh no, I'm having common under the sofa dust tonight.
Yeah. The grey is just crackers and cheese.
I'm having one of those McDonald's burgers that has been left out on the side for 2 months and it still looks the same.
It's still pristine. Right, let's jump in to the sort of main news segment of the episode, where we're going to be talking about the latest PS5 reveal and the IGN Summer of Gaming trailers that have come up recently. So, boys, where do we want to start with this?
First impressions on the PS5?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's quite a design. It's quite something.
It is. My favorite kind of description for it so far would be the Scottish word wingnut.
That's not a Scottish word.
It's definitely not a Scottish word.
Oh, I never heard of it before Scotland influenced my life.
A wingnut is just like a type of nut, like a nut and bolt.
Yeah,
no, I'm talking.
The use of it is for like people who are just. I'm pretty sure it comes from. I'm pretty sure Yanks came up with that in the first place.
It's for someone with massive ears, no?
No.
A wingnut is for someone who is just their political views are just like they're nuts, like they're 5G conspiracy theorist style nuts. Obviously. Yeah, I suppose Scotland and Ireland would probably use it quite frequently because we both love to dabble in the beautiful art that is sectarian politics, which really just distills the perfect form of wingnuttery. But we won't get into that on a video games podcast.
Oh, I totally got that wrong. I thought it was someone who had massive ears.
Yeah, I know of someone who's nicknamed Wingnut, who's basically a bald guy with massive ears.
That is fantastic.
That's kind of like what I see the PS5 as, just like a little cube with massive ears.
Yeah.
It's just a fancy Wi-Fi router by the looks of it.
Exactly that. It's just like like if you look at I don't even know how to sort of read this out in sort of, in a non-visual sense. Like it is a slightly curved black box in the heart of it, and on either side of that black box they have put white panels that overlap the edges of the box, and it's just, I don't know, it's bizarre looking. Absolutely bizarre.
Imagine like an inverse Oreo. So rather than having a white stuff in the middle, you have the white stuff on the outside. Like that sort of stuff.
I feel like a large part of the design, if you look at the areas, where those white panels are that overlap with it, it looks like, obviously, with the upgrade of the hardware that's in there, you're going to need cooling. You're going to need a lot of cooling. Like any decent gaming PC, you're going to need a lot of fans, and everything around those edges is a vent.
Did you actually see that earlier today? They actually confirmed that is exactly the case.
Yeah. It's just...
I got to give them some sort of credit, though, because... yes, it's not the nicest looking thing. Personally, I really don't like the look of it. I am more of a minimalist person, so I would much prefer to have things literally just a cube. So the Xbox One X, Series X, whatever it's called, that looks awesome. Does exactly what I need it to, and it's inoffensive. I could put that in the flat, and my partner won't be really pissed off at me for having something super nerdy there because it's like just a cube. The PS5, they obviously can't just make a cube because the Xbox has done a cube. So they're going to have to lean more into the crazy side of the design. And that's what they've done. They've done something that's the complete opposite of the Xbox. They're separating themselves from, okay, the Xbox is for like, the kind of the people that want to have like something that's like really minimal and sleek. We've got one that's for the gamers.
Yeah, they actively went out and said that we want something to be, this is like a showpiece. They want this to be out next to your TV and be like, look at me. This is the PlayStation. This is the thing that you want to have on show, so the people can look at it and go, oh wow, you got a PlayStation. Rather than having your cupboard underneath your TV where all your DVD, your Blu-ray player, your everything like that, you should just be thrown in a cupboard under there. They want this to be outstanding next to your television, and like be a centerpiece sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was, even though it is a very interesting design, I think it's going to be one of those ones that a lot of people, like, it's going to divide. It's obviously divided people's opinions on it, but there will be those diehard fans who are like, that looks fucking beautiful. And there's a lot of people that obviously don't think that as well, like us. Like when we watched it, we were all like, all right.
The comment I made before was very much a case of like, when these things are designed, they're done in obviously like a 3D modeling software, and the concept art is going to be showing nice classy sort of living rooms, really high tech living rooms, and that sort of, you sort of see that echoed in the sleek design with the light blue sort of sci-fi lighting in it. But then it's just the fundamental reality, and this is going to be sitting on someone's desk in a box flap somewhere, and it's going to look so weird. Like, if I walked into someone's house or apartment and saw that in their living room, I'm just going to think it's a wireless reader, be picking it up and looking on the back of it for the key.
Don't touch that. It doesn't have a disc tray.
You know, it's definitely what sort of the more artistic of the two consoles. Like, I like the Xbox. I like the way the Xbox looks, the new one, because it is just a little stand-up box, and that will look nice wherever you put it. Whereas the PlayStation 5, it'll look nice, but you're gonna have to fucking like redecorate your living room to make it look nice, like wherever it's gonna be. Unless they come up with a nice the black design. Unless the black design for it is nice and sleek and sort of will fit when you turn it sideways and look nice like that, then I can't imagine. Well, I'll fucking get one anyway because I want to play Spider-Man, but that's beyond the point. But this will be up in the shed like with the other consoles. So
I think it definitely does show the difference of market as well. You know, Xbox is very American and very like straight to the point. PlayStation is a little bit more fun, and we saw that with some of the reveal trailers as well. Their console is. I don't think their console is necessarily taking itself too seriously, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think they're trying to showboat it a little bit, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're trying to make it the more fun looking, more futuristic looking, sort of like get the kids in to look at it.
Yeah, I know, like, one of their core design principles or something that they said for the concept of it was that they want it to look like something that's going to fit in later 2020. You know, they want it to look futuristic. That's the point, you know, which the Xbox has not gone that direction. It's just a chunky box.
I like the way
a PC case.
The Xbox has kind of done what I was talking about earlier, where like when they were designing it, obviously they went for that very utilitarian sort of, this is just going to be a big black box, but then one end of it is entirely dedicated to a fan. It's just, we're going to put a load of holes on this end. We'll light it up green, so there's a little bit of a stylistic flair there, but that's a fan. That's just a fan. These things are going to be meaty. Like, it's going to be like a gaming PC eating away at your electric bill.
You could say, boys, that PlayStation has gone more later 2020 and the Xbox has gone more 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Oh, fuck's sake. that was a pretty good one. I'm going to give you that.
Pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, enough about the aesthetics of the PlayStation 5, because we're not shallow people. Talk to us about what's inside it. Or what's going to be inside it. Not the hardware, the games. I don't care about the hardware. Teraflops.
There's going to be a disk drive.
There's going to be at least 3 teraflops.
Optional disk drive is one of the things.
So I saw a lot of comments about this disk drive, because like when we were talking, it was like, why the fuck did they reveal the disk drive one first? It looks stupid. Like, why are you putting a disk on a new console? Just do it as a downloadable thing and have like expansion slots for SD cards or something. But a lot of comments I've seen on social media are like, yeah, disc tray. It's like, what? Why do you need a disc tray in this like era? But then that's probably only because you could fit two games on the PS4.
Yeah, so it's an 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU at 3.5 gigahertz. Custom GPU based on AMD's RDNA 2 architecture. 10.28 teraflops and 36 compute units clocked at 2.23 gigahertz, 16 gig of GDR6 RAM, and 825 gigabyte SSD. So that number is a bit iffy to me. Is that just a terabyte SSD and they've lobbed off the rest for the amount that's needed for the software, do you reckon?
Probably, most likely.
Probably, yeah.
Or have they got an 825 gig SSD and then they're still going to need to take out 25 gig of that for software anyway?
I hope it's not that, because if that's the case, that's shady as fuck.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine them having a terabyte SSD and needing fucking 175 fucking, or 185, whatever it is. Maths too bad.
Yeah, that's a lot of space.
That's a lot of space for just OS and general like files. So I reckon it is actually just an 825 gig SSD. They somehow just decided to do that.
That got me with having the PlayStation 4 was that you'd end up getting like 4 gig fucking patches just for the OS alone, and you're like, what? Like, where is this 4 gig going?
Yeah, don't start with me with fucking PlayStation. My brother has had to basically. Call of Duty Warzone is such a massive game that he's had to completely wipe every other game off of his PlayStation hard drive to solely install Warzone on his PlayStation and have all his other games on an external hard drive. Ridiculous.
That's why you need to buy PC, everyone. You can put about 20 hard drives in your computer.
20 terabytes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much storage I've got on mine at the moment, but it's only ever increasing. And then there's a whole bunch of externals as well for work. So, yes. Storage, not a problem on PC, but yeah. When you've only got a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD for your console, it's not going to last.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see as well how they sound as well, both of them, because I remember the PlayStation 4 being quite a loud one in terms of the fan noise. So if the new one has better airflow, I assume with the bigger ventilation holes, and obviously the Xbox as well with its massive sort of cube. Wasn't it built like the bit like the Mac Pro, the new Mac Pro, where it's sort of meant to be like the dustbin? Yeah, a bit like that, whereas like a tunnel of airflow through the middle or something like that, isn't it? I think I remember seeing that for the Xbox.
Yeah, you mean the really overpriced dustbin?
Yeah. I thought it looked quite nice, the old Mac Pros, but that's just another conversation.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the new PlayStation 5 reveal, we were also given a shit ton of new trailers
games
and games that will be coming out with it. A few of the PlayStation that we can determine that are probably PlayStation exclusive were games such as the Sackboy game, which was announced. Which that
actually looked really good.
Little Big Planet is fantastic.
I remember Brendan saying that he loved the Little Big Planet series, so I assume you're quite looking forward to that when it does come out.
Not really, because I don't have a PlayStation. I'm not going to get a PlayStation 5. Like, I'm kind of done with consoles.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I love him from afar. It doesn't matter. Like, fundamentally, it doesn't matter. The last PlayStation console I had was a PlayStation 3, and it could be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I will always wish Sackboy all the best because he is a lovable little scamp.
I like that they've also expanded the kind of... It's not just the same as it was before, even though it is more or less a rip-off of Mario. Was it Mario or Mario...
No.
Odyssey?
No.
Which one am I
Did you ever play Little Big Planet?
Yeah, but this one's totally different.
Yeah, this one, it uses the same idea of fully customizable levels and stuff that you make yourself, but it expands it into a kind of more, rather than like a side scroller, which it had been previously, it looks like they're expanding it into a way where you can adjust the direction you're running and sort of the way the levels are laid out. Previously, it was you're running from the left or right of the screen to the other side of the screen and platforming and dodging various things and doing all other sorts of little adventures. I think they did implement an up-down option as well, where you could sort of see I don't know how to describe it. You're moving from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top of the screen, and it's sort of like a top-down view that was brought in Little Big Planet 2. So it looks like this is sort of that natural evolutionary path of them saying, here's different perspectives and ways you can do levels. But it struck me as just a very bloody broad platforming game.
Yeah, it will be a bit of a different one. Obviously quite kid-friendly and everything. Moving on, other ones we had were Horizon 2, so the sequel to the original Horizon game, which I've not played. Has anyone played Horizon games?
Nope.
No, they look quite nice. Very sort of like futuristic techie.
That might come to PC. I think Horizon Zero Dawn's actually come to PC, hasn't it?
Yeah,
So
the complete
that's
edition
will
releases
eventually.
this summer.
Yeah.
Might be worth giving that a go, trying that one out.
Definitely. Just because when it was announced, a lot of Sony fanboys, which I'm still somewhat amazed to know are still a thing. The console war is definitely going on alive and well. But they got absolutely furious about it. And some guy, I think he posted a picture of him smashing his computer screen, and one of the lead devs of Horizon replied to him please go outside and get a life. And just because it's caused so much anger, I feel like I just have to play it.
Fair enough. New
Excellent marketing.
New Ratchet and Clank game. Sort of I think it's a Rift in Time, I think it was called. The new one. Very cool.
The original, the remake of Ratchet and Clank they did a couple of years ago was actually really fun. So it looks like more of the same, to be honest, but that's not a bad thing. Yeah,
and another one which I think you're going to answer with a very similar answer to that last one, which is Oddworld's Soulstorm as well.
I'm very much excited for that.
Yeah, and the remake
Very
they did
excited.
for that, the first Oddworld was pretty good from what I remember from the PS4.
Yeah, Abe's Odyssey has always been fun and dark and very, very difficult. I'm pretty sure we've spoken about Abe's Odyssey.
We spoke about it in the our games nostalgic games from our past episode.
That was it. And if you haven't listened to that, check it out.
Yes. Pluggity plug.
Plug to our own episode.
And I am super excited for the PS5 for one reason and one reason only, and that is the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. So it's sort of a Spider-Man sequel, but not really a sequel because it's just the other Spider-Man that's within that same universe. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. If you guys don't really know much about comics and the Spider-Man universe, Miles Morales.
That Spider-Man game was one that I actually really wanted to get my hands on because I've not played a Spider-Man game since Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, which was phenomenal. Clunky, a bit dumb in places, but really good fun. And that one looks totally solid. But yeah, again, console exclusives. I don't have a PlayStation, so that's me out for that, really.
Yeah, luckily I have a younger brother who will probably get the PS5, so I'll just have to annoy him enough to let me play Spider-Man on it when it eventually comes out, which would be great.
Just give him a go on your VR headset.
Oh yeah, he's already done that. He loves that as well, so we'll have to have a little swap.
This contract is sealed.
Paid within blood.
We will move on from the PS5 exclusives. There probably are a few more PS5 games that we'll be talking about coming up, but the IGN Summer of Gaming also happened shortly after the PS5 reveal. We say Summer of Gaming, it's more like the Summer of Remakes, am I right?
Yeah, baby. It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there's 5 games that are being remade. So we've got the Demon Souls remake, which is coming out. So you Dark Souls fanboys will be happy to hear that there's actually going to be a new updated Demon Souls, but it is a remake.
In fairness, yeah, I forgot about the fact Demon Souls was released in 2009. So it has been, oh God almighty, it's been 11 years. I'm so old.
It's been 84 years.
It's been 84 years.
But yeah. Alex Kidd, platformer remake. If you remember Alex Kidd from, what platform was Alex Kidd on? Jesus, that's Alex Kidd was...
Oh, wow.
That is...
Oh my god, that cover art.
With
It was on the Sega
real-
Genesis.
The hyper-realistic face, you
Genesis.
mean?
Blimey.
Yeah. I'm not sure hyper realistic sort of fits for that. More sort of haunted theme park.
Sorry, yeah. That's a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's coming back, and that's going to be, I think, the PlayStation 1, maybe all platforms. I'm not too sure.
Why does the new key art, why does he have such massive fists?
No.
Is that like-
couldn't tell.
He's a boxer.
Oh, well, then that makes sense.
I
Is
assume
he?
he punches people, doesn't he?
Yeah, I never played the original, and I actually haven't
Yeah, he
seen that.
punches. Like his thing is it's showing him getting ready to punch someone. And then there's like a little animation of him punching someone. Like boxers always have big hands, normally from punching things.
That would make sense.
It's their punch muscles.
So Alex Kidd originally was inspired by Bruce Lee.
The absolute legend.
So he's focused on like kung fu fighting and
Punching the absolute fuck out of people.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Cool. Alex Kidd,
That
that's
explains
another one. The Mafia Definitive Edition remake.
I'm actually really looking forward to that. I played through the Mafia 2 Definitive Edition when they've added that update to Steam. If you owned Mafia 2 prior to the release of Definitive, you got that as an update for free. And yeah, it's still a solid game. I still feel like it's too short, a little clunky in places. Hasn't aged particularly well, but still a solid narrative, really. So I'm quite looking forward to Mafia, which was apparently, a better game in terms of story as well and things. And seeing it actually completely remastered in the Mafia 3 engine should be quite good. So looking forward to that.
Yeah?
Did
With,
any of you play Mafia 3?
Yes.
No.
No.
Was that the one? Because I remember seeing an exhibition about kind of inclusivity and political topics in video games. And I believe there's a part in Mafia 3 where, because you play as a black protagonist, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Lincoln Clay, I think his name was.
That's a
Vietnam
cool name.
vet or something.
I never played it, so I'm going off what I remember reading. But I believe there's a part where there's like a really wealthy kind of part of the town, and the cops kind of look at you more suspiciously there because of your skin color.
Yeah, racism has always been quite prominent in the Mafia series. Like, it's always been depicted as accurately as it was at the time. And it can be quite a challenging thing to approach and like experience because it's very blunt. And yeah, it's always been there. They've always said from the get-go with them, like, we do depict racism in these games as it was at the time. Because again, like, you could brush over that sort of part of history, like, which obviously is still very much the case today. It's not gone away, but it's a lot more open in times, and like, Italian protagonists getting like referred to as certain things, but also referring to like other ethnicities as their own slurs, and oh god, it's all very bleak and a very dark but real depiction of racism and stuff, which is made some people think, but then obviously for some edgelords it's just going to be which unfortunately is not the sort of response you want from it, really, is it?
I feel like it would be somewhat of a detrimental thing on my part if I did not bring up the fact that there was actually another reason that Mafia 3 had calls for it to be banned and removed from sale, which wasn't racism. It was a level in which the main character is asked to acquire vehicles for an IRA bombing campaign. And the game also included graffiti, which had the Ulster banner, the former flag of Northern Ireland, which represented the Northern Irish state throughout some of its darkest days, spray painted on a wall with like a tag over the top of it with a crown crossed out and traitors written over it. And the Democratic Unionist Party and other unionists came out to basically say they were concerned that this sort of level would glorify what the IRA did and encourage. I think the line used by a certain politician, Jeffrey Donaldson, was that it would influence impressionable young minds into becoming members of the provisional IRA.
Wow. A depiction of the times. We're seeing, obviously, 2020, things haven't changed that much, have they?
Not at all. Which is
disgusting.
Yeah.
Say the least.
I will never get over, actually, I don't want to drill too hard into it, but it's this element of where politics is so difficult to approach in certain games in certain ways, to do it in a tactful manner and whatnot. But I will not get over the fact that with the recent, I believe the rebranding, sort of the George Floyd rebellion that has taken place with Black Lives Matter and growing protests throughout the US, a lot of games manufacturers and publishers put up messages in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And there was I think it was Activision put it up on the main screen of Call of Duty. And someone gurned saying, stop putting politics into my video games in Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Call of fucking Duty.
Oh, God.
You're literally shooting Russians in the face and you're not saying that's a political game. Come on, fucking wake up, you fucking dickhead.
Oh my God.
I mean, there's been so many posts from idiots on Twitter and things of people going, wow, okay, developer of incredibly politically politically charged narrative game, that's all an allegory for something. How dare you make this game political? And you're like, have you paid any attention to the game you're playing?
Yeah.
Well, of course they haven't. All they do is just see fucking flashing lights and just get their adrenaline fix from it. It's literally just an adrenaline machine for them. They don't give a fuck as long as they're just gunning people down. And that's unfortunately the fucking mentality of most people at the fucking moment. It's just...
Yeah,
just not right. We probably shouldn't get too far into it. We're just going to get really angry.
Yeah, it's a whole conversation to itself.
The stupidity of people will never cease to amaze us.
Well, that's where Mafia 3 is sort of the perfect example of. I know that the term that loves to get thrown about is culture war, but it's this sort of element of Mafia 3 can try to do a hard-hitting look at racism, like a BioShock Infinite tried to do the same. There are games that try to do it in this very, I'm being artistic and poetic and look at how metaphorical I am. And it will normally get a reaction where people will be like, don't fucking do that, just leave it, don't touch it. And then other people will be like, this is completely given away to George Soros's agenda and all this sort of nonsense. So there's always going to be that split between how people react to it. But whilst on one side, it's, sort of debates around the tactics and how tactful you've been in approaching it and how educational it's been and so on and so forth, there's just this solid wall of fucking pricks that are just stop being political.
Yeah. There was so many posts I saw on the majority of big games publishers. There were a handful of nice ones, but the majority were fucking spoiled gamers who are just the one about Call of Duty. They were like, oh my God, this is just obviously a ploy for them to be able to get more time so they can finish their broken game. Because obviously they haven't had enough time to finish the new campaign or season or whatever it was that came out. I don't play Call of Duty. I couldn't give two fucks. So, but it's just, maybe giving them more time was part of the reason, but that's not the reason that they're saying. They're actually in support of Black Lives Matter. So don't start making assumptions to something that you're not a developer. So don't make those assumptions. For one. Two, read the fucking post. Honestly, just I love
the simplicity of bring that back to how shut out and hypocritical some of these people are. It's just that if you think about where Gamergate and things like that kicked off, a lot of the arguments came out about, none of these games have women in like primary positions. You can't play as a woman. If you do, it's normally done in a sort of sexualized manner, like she's always designed by some guy and some guy has drawn her like a fucking wank fantasy. And the reaction from the same people that are complaining about Black Lives Matter's messages was basically, well, don't play it then. You don't have to play it. Go play something else. Go make your own game. If you don't like people telling you that they are against racism in Call of Duty or in Mafia 3 pointing out that racists are fucking idiots, then fuck off. Go play something else. Go play Pac-Man, big man.
Yeah, there's a plethora of games on Steam at the moment which will align to your ideologies. So fucking find those.
Go play Red Orchestra 2, you Nazi cunt.
Yeah, exactly.
To loop back to like my earlier point with the like certain companies getting flack from people whose games are incredibly political. One of them was Cyberpunk. Their account posted something in support of Black Lives Matter, and obviously, I don't want politics in my games. Again, Cyberpunk. And another one was the official Fallout account. Don't get political. Again, war dehumanizes everybody that fights it. Consumerism is unsustainable and will bring down the world with us. Class disparity and racism are bad. And American exceptionalism and nationalism it's a suicidal and destructive worldview. Like, how is that not fucking political? And that is smeared all over every Fallout game. And
the premise is in a fucking post-apocalyptic nuclear-torn fucking environment. How more fucking political could you get?
After the later, as Fallout 4's intro says, after decades of excess, we've consumed all resources and we turned on each other. Like, fuck. Like, not political at all, though. Games.
We are getting off on a tangent, and we are very passionate about this because... it certainly requires another episode, but I think what we're trying to say is the vast stupidity is overwhelming in some cases.
Yeah, and certain games like Mafia will bring it to the surface in even sometimes the most benign circumstances.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Do we just sort of moonwalk out of that?
After talking about Mafia's remake, the other two remakes that were coming out was 13 remake, which I haven't heard of before, but Brendan was telling me about
Golden Age of Gaming, PlayStation 2 classic.
Yeah, the cel-shaded...
I managed to play a demo version of it in a store for a bit. I never actually managed to get a hand on it, so I'm actually really looking forward to the remake so I can actually play it fully for the first time.
Well, that speaks perfectly to where the benefit of the remake is, because on one level, I'm a wee bit salty. I would have liked its own sort of rendition, a follow-up, its own sort of storyline that's going to be something new and something bigger to fit the new hardware and capabilities. But doing a remake of the classic allows a whole new generation of people to experience that afresh as if they were playing it on the PlayStation 2 the first time around, except with a better engine.
Funny thing is, I wonder how many people will be like, oh, it's just a Fortnite ripoff.
Because it's got a cartoon style.
No, it doesn't look like cartoon style.
It's not even that kind of cartoon style because it's cel-shaded.
No, it's literally cel-shaded and very comics book inspired. I remember the original one. I think that had... when you killed people and stuff, it did flashes of cartoon panels or something, didn't it, Brendan?
If you throw a grenade, the grenade explodes and brings up kaboom.
Yeah. And there was pow and stuff if you punch them.
Yeah. It was very unique. I can't think of much in terms of if you think about the vast library that the PlayStation 2 had, there was nothing quite like that on that, which is probably why 13 stood out so much. So I think it's it's going to be good either way.
And also, System Shock remake as well that is coming out.
It's a remaster. From the looks of the trailer, I only just discovered this was a thing earlier with Jordan when we were going through the playlist, and it does look like a sort of minimum effort remaster of the original game.
Oh, it does. I'm looking at the screenshots now. It looks like it's running on the same engine, just with a reskin.
Yeah, exactly that. Or no, sorry, not on. I think it's a different engine, but it's kind of just exactly the same game.
Same.
Oh, okay.
So moving on from the remake section, we've got also a section that I like to call the Dead Horse section.
Yes.
So kicking off the PlayStation 5 event, they teased us, and definitely teased us with GTA 5 again. And we did some research, and we found out that GTA 5 has spanned the last 3 generations of console. With 8 years, did we say it was?
8 years, yeah.
8 years, which is the same length as as the last 4 GTA games.
I think actually it was 7 years for the last 4.
Yeah, 7 years for the last 4, which was GTA 4, GTA 3, San Andreas, and Vice City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember
ridiculous.
The early childhood when technically shouldn't have been playing GTA, but still managed to play it, being excited for every installment of that. I wonder what it's like being a kid now. I wonder if the kind of the new content that they bring out in GTA 5 is the same sort of, oh my God, they're bringing out like the Annihilator or whatever it's called. And
yeah, I think
like,
people are more used to games now being just, you release a game, you buy a game, and it just updates itself with stuff each time. But us oldies are still used to like having new games with new content in it, rather than just rehashing old games or making the old games like have more stuff in it.
Yeah, like my fear around this, and I am a massive GTA fan. I've played every single GTA game from the first one on PC, and as much as I like Rockstar, my fear is that this becomes the new norm, and that the next GTA game is expected to have a lifespan of 10 years. And what you get is a good single-player game, a fundamentally good, top-quality writing single-player campaign, and then all of the lifespan focus is on multiplayer, and the multiplayer is just the map, and it's them pumping in microtransaction bait. Basically, just here's a car. It's basically the same as this other muscle car, but it shoots flames out the exhaust. Now, please buy a shark card. That's my fear for it, that this normalizes that, and this is their signal that they are going to beat every single game to death until they get the last penny out of it.
Well, you know, that's exactly it. To be honest, like in the grand scheme of things, for them to code a brand new car probably isn't that much manpower in terms of like getting a developer to code the actual car itself, getting the modeler to make the car, getting like the concept of the car in the first place, introducing it, getting the key art. You know, it's a process, but it's a much smaller process than making a whole brand new game. And you can charge the same amount. You can charge 40 quid for a shark card for like a month's work, and you'd be charging 40 quid for fucking 4 years worth of development for a brand new game. It makes sense, and people are still buying it because they're idiots. That's the thing. Like, I don't blame the publishers for that at all. It's the consumers. The market's there. People will buy the fucking shark cards because they have to get the brand new car that comes out. It's their fault.
It's also entirely the publishers for pursuing that predatory approach. Like, they know what they're doing. Fundamentally, that is a strategy, and they are making more than enough money in the initial sales of these games. Like, GTA 5 sales were huge, absolutely gigantic, and that's enough from their normal revenue stream, because they're a company, would be able to fund and produce another GTA game. It's more sort of, I think it's become normalized that they need to keep things just ticking over throughout all of that. They just need that constant revenue stream because, you know, every quarter they've got to report on what their revenue is. So they're going to push these things out. Like, some of these cars don't need to be in there. They're only made for the purpose of generating microtransaction revenue. So it's sort of, this is part of a wider discussion around microtransactions, and I gurn about it constantly, but the game is altered from the offset because of that. Rather than it being, hey, here's this cool crime sim thing that takes place in this massive open world game, there's a whole section of it where it's like, great, and once we've got all that established, here's our workflow for where we're just going to introduce fucking random vehicles in so that we can keep getting those 5 quids out of people.
I wish they would have stopped with the rocket cars and stuff in GTA, but that's just me.
It's gotten a bit Saints Row.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
That's
Although
basically what
I
it
think
is.
actually that was the one benefit of that trailer for the PlayStation 5, even though it was fucking bizarre opening with that. That trailer, if you're new to GTA 5, if the PlayStation 5 is going to be your first console you're going to decide to invest in, or the PlayStation 5 and GTA 5 is going to be a game you want to get with it, if you're looking at that trailer with zero like experience of GTA 5 already, it looks like a massive game with so much stuff in it to actually play on. You've got all these rocket cars, you've got crazy like bikes that cut off the other bikes and all this sort of business. Like the multiplayer is huge at this point.
Laser.
Yeah, it feels like this crazy big Saints Row thing with endless possibilities.
Guys, just imagine, right? Take yourselves back to when GTA 5 first came out, and remember when you bought that game, yeah?
Oh yeah,
I remember it not loading.
Imagine, just imagine that day.
True Rockstar fashion.
Imagine that day, and you are a 10-year-old. Yeah.
You're
10 years old, right?
I know that feeling.
And then and then fast forward 8 years, the PlayStation 5 has come out, and you're finally 18, and you can finally go and purchase that game. It's been out for 8 years on a new console.
Oh God.
To be fair though, like I remember when fucking Bungie decided to call Destiny a 10-year game. Fuck off. GTA 5 is how you do a 10-year game. Even though yes,
it's not. It shouldn't be. No game should be a 10-year game.
No. But I'm just saying, like, if you are going to do that, then GTA 5 is the prime example to do it, because you know I picked GTA 5 up late, and I still enjoy it. And there's still a hell of a lot of content I'm never going to be able to play on it, but there is that content if you want it. It requires a much more further discussion about, you know, the predatory nature and the fucking microtransactions and all that shit. Like that, some of that's unacceptable.
I still think that GTA 5 and GTA Online should be two separate games.
Ooh. But they kind of are.
They are, but you have to pay for GTA 5 to get GTA Online. Why not make GTA Online free to play, and have shark cards be the currency where you can just keep buying money and force feeding Rockstar employees Monster and fucking Doritos?
Honestly, I'd be against that.
I just feel that you're not getting the development for GTA Online. If they would have stopped developing GTA Online like 5 years ago and just gone, right, we're not doing any more updates for this, we're just going to work on the next game, we're going to get a decent story in, we'd probably have GTA 6 2 years ago.
Well, you say that, but like they've been working on Red Dead in the meantime. They've got so much money, right? So they're probably already working on GTA. I remember hearing rumors about 2-3 years ago that they were working on GTA 6. So they probably still are. It's just you can't. Just because you have all the money in the world doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get something done quicker, because you still have the processes that you need to go through. Once you've got the outline of the story, once you've got the map, once you've got like everything like that, then everything starts falling into place. But there is still, you know, there's only so much money can buy.
It might just be my views on GTA Online, but I feel there's only a certain many hours you can get on GTA Online before everything comes the same. There's only so many races you can do. There's only so many places you can do. There's only so many times you can do the fucking heist missions over and over again to get yourself more money every time. Like, I feel like it's a bit of a ball ache and a drag to have lasted this long without any like brand new game.
Yeah, and I feel like we're falling into the trap of sort of on the core topic around all of this. I feel like when your structure of the game's revenue is based around an expectation of being able to generate fresh revenue month on month for 10 years after its release, you're going to inherently style it around that microtransaction grind. Inherently from the offset, that's what Rockstar did when they went, we're going to make GTA Online. It's like, great. So how's that going to work? Is it going to be sort of like a free roam and just chaos? You do whatever you want thing, and you can just steal cars and all the rest of that. And they went, no, you can buy property and you can buy cars, but you can buy the money to do it. And if you want to get the money to buy those cars or properties or do anything else exciting in the game, like heists and whatnot, you're going to need to grind for it. And the grind is going to take a while. So your choice here is that you do the grind or you buy the shortcut. And a lot of people will be too poor to buy the shortcut, so they will have to do this artificially driven grind to force you to earn it. And a load of other people will push a load of money into it instead so that they can get a shortcut through to getting that thing that we artificially made only achievable through paying for that shortcut. That's the bit that I am hostile to in not just GTA, in any game, where instead of them going, we're going to make this a living, breathing city because we are passionate about it. Like with Red Dead, actually, we're passionate about it and we love it and we want to make every element of this pop and just run perfectly. And then when it comes to the online, they're just like, and we're going to take our beautiful creation and turn it into a fucking cash register.
Yeah, it's that's unfortunately the way that games are now being made. Even games that are passion projects, if they're swept up by a big publishing house, this is how they make money.
That's it. You're not going to get your game greenlit unless you can adhere to this, because now it's the new norm.
Yeah, this is now how you can tell that the game is going to be successful after launch. And I mean, we are delving into another topic altogether, and this is like something that we probably need to discuss another time. But yeah, you don't just make a game for passion and hope to get published nowadays. You need to ensure that your game is going to be making this publisher a shit ton of fat stacks, even
billions, literal billions.
Yeah, years after release. And then they'll eventually probably push it out to free to play so that all the microtransactions are then easy. Like, it gets more people to get their microtransactions. Because that's probably the way that this is going.
Cool.
And this sort of works perfectly for sliding on, because whilst we complain about the fact there's no GTA 6, there are other sequels coming our way. Jordy Wiz?
Yes, there are, Brendan. Thank you. So we have Resident Evil 8 Village coming out, which I'm guessing a few of you are excited for.
Oh, yeah. And seeing as they did for PlayStation Resident Evil 7 in VR, but they never ported that over to PC, I'm kind of hoping they do the same thing, but also do a VR version for the PC, because I would like to poop myself. Well, I wouldn't, but, you know, I would like that immersive experience, because honestly, the RE engine is pretty stunning, to be honest. That game looked suitably grim and oppressive. Like, so imagining that in VR, and I still haven't finished it, Gary.
You still got to finish it.
It scares me. It really is. Like, I've never been that bad with Resident Evil games. I think I've got a bit softer as I've got older, but horror games get to me now. Like, I used to be fearless as a youngster.
I think the difference between like the early Resident Evil games is they weren't really that scary. They were more like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Whereas now it's like, oh fuck, what's going to come next? Everything's really quiet and I don't really know what's going on. And then you fucking shit yourself.
Would it be fair? Like, I've watched the trailer when it first came out, and would it be fair to sort of summarize Resi 8 Village, whatever the hell way they've spelled it out, as kind of like a spiritual sequel to Resi 4? Like, it's that kind of entire atmosphere and world. You're going to this dodgy little village in the middle of nowhere to find someone, and shit hits the fan. To put it lightly,
always seems to be the case with most Resident Evil, to be honest. You're just some
Raccoon City.
Well, yeah, true.
Not quite a shitty little village.
True. Yeah, true.
Fourth one was so good. Like,
I loved Resi 4.
Yeah.
The most memorable moment from it was Daddy Chainsaw.
Oh God,
Bagman or Sackman or whatever it's called.
Dr. Salvador.
Dr. Salvador. I remember doing the village for the first time, and Ant, who bought the game and was supposed to be playing it, who was too scared to play it, so put me in control while he just sat back with it. Yeah, shout out to Ant, love you, buddy.
Hey, Ant.
Sat back with like a Nintendo guide thing that he'd got that said there was a shotgun in one of the houses in the village during that first onslaught. So I went into the house, and that spawns the chainsaw guy. And I remember backing up onto the roof, like terrified as he was chainsawing through the front door.
Oh god!
And just heard the chainsaw getting louder, and I was looking at this window waiting for him to climb out, and with back at the edge of this roof, 2 feet from it, and didn't realise at that point that they could put ladders up on the walls to get onto roofs and stuff. So chainsaw guy came right up behind me and chopped my head off while I absolutely crapped.
That's it. I hope Village does that again. I hope they capture that kind of atmosphere to it, because I really enjoyed Resi 4 over some of the other games, and I'd like to see that sort of done again. And I'm sure some fucking Resident Evil fan is going to jump down my throat for that, but fuck off.
Yeah, Resident Evil has sort of done its best when it sort of diverges away from the usual formula. It changes things up a bit.
That's it. And don't be afraid to do so.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that Resi 8 goes a bit further down that route and tries something new for a change, It'll be good. Try something new, different enemies as opposed to just zombies again, or Boss Plagas or whatever.
Following on with the shitting your pants and being scared, Outlast 2 sequel, Outlast Trials, is coming out as well.
Is it bad that it's called Trials and I immediately thought of
riding motorbikes? Yeah. I also thought the same thing.
They haven't really showed off a lot of that other than it might be co-op.
Yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's not co-op. It's multiplayer.
Oh.
I just looked it up. It's co-op. It's co-op up to 4 friends.
Oh, wait, is it an asymmetric multiplayer game? Because if so, we know Rob likes the competitive asymmetric games.
No, but it is a cooperative game where I'm sure there will probably be loot. So if we all get it, we can look forward to us running around nearly dead while Rob has 16 med kits and every gun in the game in his backpack.
Hey, I'm not that bad. I am not that bad.
Please, I'm dying. Does anyone have a bandage? Crickets.
Daisy, that's a fucking even distribution of loot. I'm as fucking socialist as it comes when we play fucking survival games, you goddamn asshole.
On survival games that you have to do that, otherwise you're at a major disadvantage. That's why.
So what games are we talking about then? Whence have I fucked you over like this, Brendan?
Let's move on to the next subject.
No, I'm being slandered. I am being slandered on the podcast.
because we're slander, it's libel.
He's getting competitive. Go.
We're going to follow on with Rob's looting obsession into Baldur's Gate 3 that's coming out. Baldur's Gate 3 hits early access in August 2020, and we are all very excited to play it.
Wait, early access?
Wait. But it's the same thing they did with Divinity Original Sin 2. Yeah, they released it in early access. I bought in while it was in early access. Well, actually, I'd kickstarted it, so I got the early access key, but then I didn't play it until it was released because I didn't want to just spoil that early game, because the only thing you could do was Fort Joy.
Yeah.
During the early access period, and I didn't want to smash through that and then either come back while they keep updating it, or play it once, come back, want to play the full game through again properly with Gary and start again. And I didn't want to do that. So I bought in while it was in early access because it was cheaper. It was essentially just a massive pre-order. And finally got around to playing it when it came out. Still not finished.
I think we'll definitely we will all get Baldur's Gate 3 because we're very excited by it. But I wonder if we'll have a think about whether or not we play early access or not. I assume we probably will.
Go on then, Brendan. What are we talking about next?
That lovely, shiny-headed, weird mid-Atlantic clone minx Agent 47 is back, and it's the fucking finale to Hitman 2, which I only picked up after fucking ages, because after Hitman Absolution, I was very, I don't know, just I felt that it was going to be a complete shit show, and it turned out that the Hitman 1 and 2 weird reboot series thing they did was actually fantastic, and this is the end to the trilogy, the big face-off, and it's going to be class. It's just, I can't wait for all the environments. The environments in Hitman games are incredible.
Your description of Agent 47 there sounds very familiar.
If only he had a great big bushy beard.
Yeah, phone.
Are you saying I've got a mid-Atlantic accent?
No, not at all.
No, we were talking about the glistening dome.
Oh, yes. Well, it's not quite glistening. It's not bald enough for that yet. I will make it so. I will pluck every hair from it, then get a barcode tattoo.
And someone could just scan it. It's like, oh, you're a bag of crisps. Okay, cool.
I'll be like Punished Agent 47. It's like, you just kind of stopped shaving, huh?
And the last one we got in our sequel section is Chivalry 2, which is coming out. Not really much to go on from the trailer, other than it's going to be cross-played against the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the PC. Everyone enjoys Chivalry 1? That was a good game. I quite liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed first Chivalry game when that came out. Absolutely smashed the absolute crap out of that. Just because, again, it had a lot of character, and the two different factions were like quite distinct, and obviously there was a lot of really funny voice lines and things, and the whole gameplay, like sieging castles and things, was really good fun. And sort of, there was the massive update for it that was, what was it, Deadliest Warrior, that was just absolutely, I didn't like that.
Or was that where they added like samurai and stuff like that? And
yeah, they added samurai and things that just didn't, and Vikings and shit that were all fighting together against each other and things, and it just didn't really make any sense. And it seemed to just change the combat meta and things of the actual base game itself. Like, they changed it to work with that, and it just seemed to go downhill in terms of why people were playing it. Like, the main battles and stuff weren't played as often. All the weird bullshit, like Deadliest Warrior updates, were on the main servers and things, and it became not fun for me. And so obviously I sort of fell out of favor with it for a while, and then like there was apparently no interest in doing another one. Then Mordhau did a Kickstarter that did very, very well, and that's a very, very fun game. And as soon as that had made so many million or whatever in early access alone, like before it even hit Steam, suddenly Chivalry 2's announced as an Epic exclusive. And I was
I was going to make the joke about, Chivalry 1 and 2, that I've already played it because I played Mordhau.
Yeah.
Chivalry 2 came out before Mordhau, didn't it?
It did. Yes, it did. Chivalry 1 did a long time ago.
Yeah.
I played Mordhau only a couple of years ago, and to me, it's exactly the same as Chivalry.
Yeah,
and I know
in fact,
that I'm probably going to get hate on that.
Seeing Chivalry 2 trailer, it just makes me want to play more Mordhau, to be honest.
Yeah, like I don't see necessarily the need for another Chivalry, but I never played the first, so I'm sure there's a fan base for it.
The thing that I'm hoping for in Chivalry 2 is that there's actually going to be like a campaign of sorts, rather than just the online multiplayer stuff.
I'm not too fussed about there not being a campaign, because the way I would describe Chivalry's gameplay, Gary, is sort of like medieval Team Fortress 2, in the sense that it's, objective based. Certain maps have like multiple stages and things. So rather, you would be like transporting a bomb on one that's got to make it into the center of the fort.
That's pretty much spot on. That's exactly what it was.
Or you'd be like initially like killing villagers, like burning peasants' houses and things as you start the siege of a castle, then breaking into the castle, and you've got to get further into it, and then you have got to kill the king, who's like one player selected to be the king, who has like tons more health and does a lot more damage, sort of thing, but you've all got to just gang up and murder him on the enemy team. And it was really good fun. So if they can actually replicate that, rather than just try and copy what Mordhau's doing, which Mordhau's is doing similar but on much larger maps, as a straight up, this is a massive sort of battle going on. Whereas Chivalry, if they can keep that sort of structured like flow of the original, it will at least stand out.
So we got a few more games quickly just to run through before we close the podcast today. You boys want to pick one of the games in the rest of the section? Brendan?
Yeah. Star Wars
Star
Squadrons
Wars
is coming.
Squadrons.
Yeah.
Which,
Both VR and not VR. Would that be right?
yeah, it's made with VR in mind, but not built specifically for VR. You know, you can stick on a VR headset and look around the cockpit while you're flying because it's stuck in first person. There's no third person arcadey bullshit going on. It sounds like it's actually going to be a spiritual successor to X-Wing or TIE Fighter, or X-Wing versus TIE Fighter if you ever played that, rather than say like Rogue Squadron or something. So less arcadey, more focused on the actual strategy before going in, and then in first-person dogfights with your resource management in terms of thrust, shields, and weapon power. So, you know, you could just, if you are right behind somebody chasing them, you've got the drop on them, they don't know you're there, drop all the power from your shields, put it straight into weapons, and just obliterate them.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
It'll be nice purely as, like, from a VR perspective, I am quite looking forward to it just as some kind of break from the 50,000 arena clones or shooter clones that currently make up the Steam library. Obviously, honorable mention goes to our ardent and very dedicated developers that are making weird low poly porn games. You're working hard and you're flooding that library with your utter shit, and I acknowledge you, but everyone else is working just as hard to asset flip Pavlov and sword and sorcery, or blade and sorcery. So it's nice that it seems there's something really sort of out there and new coming towards VR.
And the spin-off Hammer and Magic-y.
But yep, Star Wars Squadrons are all pretty hyped for that. Brendan, Deathloop,
Come on.
Was that a good one you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I did sort of highlight Deathloop because this was one of the ones that was showcased with the PlayStation 5 reveal event. And it's from Bethesda. And it takes a very sort of Bioshock Dishonored approach to the gameplay where you'll have a weapon in one hand and kind of superpowers in the other. The superpowers are more sort of Dishonored looking in how they're done. It's a very Dishonored kind of art style to it, I think. Maybe a bit more cartoonish. And the idea is that you have to assassinate these targets within a level whilst there is another assassin working against you. And it looks like it works on, well, it's called Time Loop, or Deathloop, sorry. And it works on a time loop system, which seems to be, I sort of remarked to Jordan earlier on, time loop seems to be a big thing at the moment. There's a couple of games coming out that use this mechanic where it's fast paced. And if you can't hit the target and the other assassin gets you first, you start again from the start and try to do it a different way. So it looks like it could be an interesting new gameplay approach from Bethesda. I'm looking forward to see sort of how it plays.
Because I remember seeing like an announcement trailer for that. It must have been like 3-4 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And just there was no other mention of it. And now they've said, right, it's coming. Getting it. So I'm actually quite excited because, again, as you said, you know, there are the Bioshock comparisons. It seems to have that's a similar sort of aesthetic to like Bioshock Infinite, but with like Dishonored gameplay. So I'm actually quite intrigued.
Yeah.
One more shout out from this section as well that I'd like to just shout out as probably the worst game that I've seen being released out of all the events that have happened in the last couple of days. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 with those great PS2 graphics.
Yes, the much awaited sequel to the much beloved Nickelodeon Kart Racers, which is
the sleeper hit.
Yeah, the sleeper hit. Yeah, the default thing that the people were crying out for. They said, you know, Nintendo has Mario Kart, but what the people truly want is Mario Kart with SpongeBob's face stuck over the models. And Nickelodeon delivered. Fair play to them. And they fought hard to bring us a sequel after threats of rioting nearly brought down their buildings as the people cried out for more. And they had to put so much effort into getting it out that regrettably they had to cut a few corners, and the thing looks like a bargain bin piece of shit that your aunt buys you when you're 5 because she just heard you like video games and she doesn't really understand what they are.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the screenshots here, and it genuinely does. I can't tell if I'm looking at the first game or if I'm looking at the second game because they look identical.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We're in the era of the remakes, baby. All we gotta do is a slight texture update
it's called
and
retro,
just churn
Gary.
that shit out.
You've got to commend them for sticking to the aesthetic rather than, pandering
What,
to
are
current
you
trends.
meaning like a fucking cylinder with fucking 10 sides on it?
Yes.
Jesus. Like, fuck me.
Hey, have some respect. This is going to be a 10-year game. You can buy a red hat for SpongeBob for 5 fucking nickel coins.
Do you know what? I genuinely would pay for SpongeBob 10-year game. And, just the amount of SpongeBob. I just need more SpongeBob. That was a joke. I do like SpongeBob.
So much so that it's the picture on his YouTube channel, is it not, Gary?
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, fucking hell. That was a good... that was good.
Yeah, cool. And to round off this amazing episode of all these new games and wondrous things that we have announced, or that not we have announced, but people have announced over the last few days, I am happy to say that I called it. I called it about 3 years ago. They brought a new Pokemon Snap, baby. Yes. I am so happy that the Nintendo company have pulled a finger out of their ass and have brought back
rehashed another game.
Finally given the fans what they want.
Yeah, giving the fans what they want. Like, yeah.
Seriously, you laugh, Brendan, but it was actually quite a fun, relaxing experience. And to actually capture every Pokemon that was in the game, required a lot of weird little puzzle solving and stuff as you were going. It was quite, I was like 6 at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to play a Pokemon game that has no actual features of a Pokemon game aside from the Pokemon themselves. Use it as a fucking photography simulator for, I don't know, maybe like £55? That sounds about right. I'm happy with that.
No, I will pay that money for that simulator, all right?
All right, I mean, that's where Brendan and I and Jordy and Rob are going to have to...
The megapixels on that Pokemon Snap camera are going to be really good.
But didn't the original Pokemon Snap actually have a purpose though? Because it came with a printer.
Yeah, you used to be able to go to game stores and print out photos. We spoke about this on the nostalgia games from our past.
Oh, we did. Oh, yeah. So, but how are we going to do that this time? Oh, do you want to share it to your Instagram feed?
If it did, that'd be amazing. My Instagram feed is going to be full of Pokemon. It's going to be great.
No, it doesn't hook into social media. It actually just does what the previous one did, where you save your photos and take them down to Tesco and print them out of one of those photo booths.
One of the passport ones.
Hey, look, it's my Charmeleon.
You'll go down to the game store.
You can use that on your passport. Sir, I don't think you look quite right. You've got a shell in this picture. Oh yeah, that's just my Blastoise.
Anyway,
sorry guys, I'm sure it's a really good game.
It's really fun and wholesome, just like your Animal Crossing, Gary.
I can see the point of Animal Crossing though, and I do get the point of Animal Crossing.
How dare you?
I've never played Pokemon Snap, so I just don't get it. That might be it.
I'm already designing a battle royale mode for it as well. I think I should get into the games industry. I could definitely be an ideas man.
Thank you all for listening. Where are we going to find you guys if we want to see any more of your stuff online? Rob?
You can find me on YouTube at Rob Coxey.
Gary?
You can find me on YouTube as well, N-Dash. Definitely not the SpongeBob one, as we pointed out before.
Yep.
And I'm also on Twitch as well, N-_, but my schedule on that is inconsistent to say the least. Basically like my YouTube channel.
Same as me. I'm very inconsistent and also on Twitch. But twitch.tv/JordyWiz. And I also post on our podcast Twitter whenever I go live as well. So yeah, just follow us on there as well. And Brendan?
You can find me kicking back and relaxing, just soaking in the rays on the golden sands of Porn Star Island.
Brilliant. We've got to give a couple of shout outs to a couple of our podcast friends on Twitter at WTF Amicon and at Gamer Genie Cast. Those guys are cool enough to share some of our posts on Twitter for our new episodes, and we just wanted to give them guys a shout out. Go follow them as well. They are some cool gamer podcasters as well. Thanks for that.
I'd also like to shout out to Review Avenue's Streetlight, a podcast series in which Review Avenue reviewers, Sean and Oliver, discuss and dissect a different film for each episode. There's 2 episodes live on Spotify at the moment, War of the Worlds from 2005 and It Follows from 2014. Go give them a listen.
And also, if you aren't already, follow us on our socials and our Discord channel as well. Those will all be on our compiled social link on Twitter and in the description below. Thank you guys, and we will see you next Tuesday. Bye.